She told me I was too attached for wanting to meet her friends. One day, I ran into her friend group at a cafe. They were all on a double date, and one of the dates was her. I sat at the next table, ordered her favorite dessert, and said, "You look familiar." I met Samantha on a rainy afternoon in Portland, Oregon. The city was known for its overcast skies, but that day, the clouds seemed to part just enough to let a sliver of sunlight through, illuminating the bookstore where we first crossed paths. She was browsing the fiction section, her fingers tracing the spines of novels with a kind of reverence. "Looking for something specific?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She turned, offering a smile that could rival the sun. "Just something to get lost in." That was the start. We bonded over our mutual love for literature, coffee, and the quirky charm of Portland. Our first date was at a local cafe, where we spent hours discussing everything from our favorite authors to our dreams for the future. Our relationship blossomed quickly. Weekends were spent exploring Powell's city of books, attending local art exhibits, and trying out new food carts. Samantha introduced me to her world, but there was always a part she kept hidden. Whenever I mentioned meeting her friends, she'd deflect. "They're just a bunch of introverts," she'd say. "Not the social type." I found it odd but didn't press. I trusted her. Over time, inconsistencies began to emerge. She'd mention plans that didn't add up, or I'd notice unfamiliar names popping up in her conversations. One evening, I saw a message flash on her phone from someone named Mark. When I asked, she brushed it off. "Just a coworker," she said. My gut told me something was off, but I chose to ignore it. Love makes you blind, they say. One Saturday morning, I decided to surprise Samantha with her favorite pastries from a cafe downtown. As I entered, I spotted her sitting at a table with a group of people. They were laughing, sharing stories, and enjoying each other's company. But what caught my eye was the man sitting next to her, his arm casually draped around her shoulders. My heart sank. This was the introverted friend group she never wanted me to meet. I approached the counter, ordered her favorite dessert, and made my way to the table next to theirs. As I sat down, I caught her eye. "You look familiar," I said, holding her gaze. The color drained from her face. The group fell silent. Samantha stammered, trying to find words. This isn't what it looks like." I raised an eyebrow. "Really?" "Because it looks like you're on a double date." The man beside her looked confused. "Wait, you're her boyfriend?" I nodded. Was. The tension was palpable. I stood up, placed the dessert in front of her, and said, "Enjoy your favorite. It's on me." With that, I walked out, the weight of betrayal heavy on my shoulders. In the days that followed, Samantha tried to reach out, offering apologies and excuses. But the trust was broken. I needed closure, not reconciliation. I channeled my pain into writing, sharing my story on a local blog. The response was overwhelming. People shared their own tales of betrayal, offering support and solidarity. Through this experience, I learned the importance of trusting one's instincts and the value of self-respect. While the scars of betrayal remain, they serve as reminders of my strength and resilience. It had been 3 weeks since the cafe. I hadn't blocked Samantha, but I stopped answering. I was trying to heal. But then, one night, right around 2 a.m., I got a message that pulled me back in. "We need to talk. It's about Mark." That was all she wrote. I stared at the message, heart pounding. Mark. The guy she was with at the cafe. What could she possibly say now? Curiosity won. I told her to meet me at the same cafe the next day. She agreed. She walked in, wearing the same perfume I remembered. She looked tired, like she hadn't been sleeping. I sat across from her, arms crossed. "Make it quick," I said. She didn't waste time. "Mark isn't just someone I was seeing. He's my ex. We dated for years. I broke up with him a few months before I met you, but he never really let go." I stared at her, unimpressed. "And the double date? The friend group?" I lied. I panicked. "Mark just showed up. The others were mutual friends, people I didn't want you to meet because they were his people too." It was a lot to take in. I wanted to believe she was lying again, but something about the way her hands shook, the fear in her voice, felt real. "Why now? Why tell me this?" She leaned in, whispering, "Because I think he's following me." It sounded crazy. But the next day, I saw it with my own eyes. I stopped by her apartment to drop off a book she left at mine. As I waited outside, a black sedan with tinted windows circled the block twice. The driver slowed each time it passed. When she came out, I asked, "Who drives that car?" Her face went pale. "Mark's brother." That's when I realized this wasn't about cheating anymore. This was bigger. We weren't dealing with jealousy. We were dealing with obsession. I couldn't let it go. Part of me still cared, even if I hated that I did. I started doing some digging. Online records, old Facebook posts, anything. What I found made my skin crawl. Mark had a restraining order filed against him by another ex 2 years ago. Violated it twice. But the case got dismissed when the girl moved out of state. I confronted Samantha. Why didn't you tell me this sooner? Tears welled up in her eyes. Because I thought I could handle it. I thought you'd leave if you knew. I almost did. But now, I was stuck in it, deeper than ever. We made a plan. Samantha agreed to help me expose Mark. I'd record everything. We'd try to catch him in the act. It was risky, but if it worked, we'd have enough to get a restraining order of our own, and maybe even press charges. We set a trap. She posted a picture of herself at our old favorite bar, alone, late at night. I was already there, in the back, phone recording, mic on. He showed up. Mark looked like he hadn't slept in days. He stormed in, walked straight to her. You trying to get seen? He barked. I'm just having a drink, Samantha replied, voice trembling. He grabbed her wrist. That's when I stepped in. Let go of her. His eyes locked on mine. You again? Yeah, me. He let go, but not because I asked. He saw the phone in my hand, recording. Saw the blinking red light. He bolted. We turned everything over to the cops. The footage, the texts, even the cars circling the block. But they said it wasn't enough. No physical violence. No threats in writing. No broken laws, just bad vibes. So we tried to move on. But 2 weeks later, I got another text. He was in my apartment. I read the text again. He was in my apartment. I rushed to her place. Samantha was outside, shaking. The door to her apartment was wide open, the lock broken. Inside, nothing was stolen. But everything had been touched. Pillows on the floor, photo frames turned around, kitchen drawers open. And on her mirror, written in what looked like red lipstick, stop hiding. She hadn't told anyone where she was living, not even her closest friends. Only I knew. And she hadn't posted a single picture of the inside online. That meant Mark either followed her one night, or someone was feeding him info. We didn't want to believe it, but it made sense. Her old friend group, the people at the double date, they were all friends with Mark first. Samantha had drifted into that group through him. She decided to test it. She texted one of them, Megan, and lied, told her she was moving out of Portland to Seattle. Then, we waited. 2 days later, a new message arrived from an unknown number. Seattle won't save you. That confirmed it. Someone in her friend group was talking to him. So we set a second trap, more controlled this time. She invited Megan and 2 others over for drinks. Casual, just like old times. I wasn't there, but I was listening. I'd bugged the apartment with a hidden mic in the lamp. Samantha knew. Everything was normal until Megan got too nosy. So, are you really leaving town? She asked. Samantha hesitated. I'm thinking about it. Megan nodded slowly, didn't say much after that. The second the group left, we waited. 30 minutes later, another text came through. Running again? It was Megan. We confronted her. Samantha called her out. I was standing behind the door, recording. I know you're feeding Mark information. Megan didn't deny it. He's not dangerous, she said. He just loves you. Samantha's face went cold. He broke into my house. Megan rolled her eyes. That's not what he told me. He said you invited him. I stepped out. You're lying. And now I've got it on record. She froze. We handed the new recordings to the police. With evidence of forced entry, stalking, and third-party involvement, they finally issued a restraining order. Mark was served a week later. Megan too. But restraining orders don't stop obsession. And Mark wasn't done. One night, Samantha didn't text me back. I waited. 1 hour. 2 hours. Then I drove to her place. Her car was there. Lights off. Door locked. I called her. No answer. I called again. Voicemail. The next morning, still nothing. A day later, I got a call from an unknown number. Not Samantha. It was her landlord. Someone broke into the back entrance last night. We found her phone outside. I felt my chest tighten. I called the cops again. They found a lead, a grainy security camera photo. A man matching Mark's height dragging a large bag into a rented storage unit on the outskirts of the city. I didn't wait. I drove there, following the address. The unit number was 213. I stood in front of it, palms sweating. If I opened that door, I'd either find Samantha or something much worse. I stood in front of Unit 213. My hands were shaking. I had called the police already, but I couldn't wait. I needed to know. I picked the lock. YouTube taught me that, sadly, and slid the door open. The light flickered inside. Boxes. Tools. A cot. A red blanket. And Samantha. She was alive, tied up, duct tape over her mouth, bruises on her wrists, but breathing. She saw me, and her eyes flooded with tears. I rushed over, pulling the tape from her mouth. "He drugged me," she whispered. "He said he was taking me somewhere safe." My stomach twisted. "I'm calling the cops again." "No," she said. "Not yet. I want him to come back first." We waited inside the storage unit. Samantha hid behind some boxes. I sat on the cot, phone recording, knife in my pocket. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. An hour passed. Then the door opened. Mark stepped in, holding a grocery bag. His eyes widened when he saw me. "You," he growled. "Yeah," I said. "Me again." He dropped the bag. I stood up, knife still hidden. "You don't belong here. You kidnapped her." He chuckled. "She's mine. She always comes back." I looked at him, dead in the eye. "You're right." His smile twitched. And then, Samantha stepped out. "You're right," she said, voice low. "I do come back, but only to end it." Before Mark could move, she sprayed pepper spray right into his eyes. He screamed, stumbled back. I tackled him. The knife fell from my pocket. He grabbed it and stabbed me. The pain hit instantly, sharp and deep. I fell to the side, blood soaking my shirt. Samantha grabbed a wrench from the tool shelf and hit him. Hard. Once. Twice. 3 times. He dropped. Not moving. Breathing, but out cold. She screamed for help. I was fading, but I heard sirens. The cops finally arrived. I spent 6 days in the hospital. Liver damage. Dozens of stitches. I lived. Mark was arrested, finally, and charged with kidnapping, attempted murder, breaking and entering, and violating the previous restraining order. Megan? She flipped on him. Claimed she didn't know how far it had gone. She got probation. Samantha got therapy and a year of no contact with her entire old friend group. But what about me? Here's where I admit something I never told anyone else. I stayed in that relationship too long. Not because I loved Samantha, not really, but because I liked the idea of saving her. It made me feel important, heroic. Even after she lied, after she cheated, I came back to help. I needed her to need me. That was my mistake. I ignored the red flags. Not just hers, but mine. And I almost died for it. A month after my release from the hospital, I got a message from Samantha. "Coffee. I miss you." I stared at it for a long time. Then I did something I should have done months ago. I blocked the number. I packed my bags. And I left Portland. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't watching your enemy fall. Sometimes, it's walking away before they drag you down too. Samantha never saw me again. Mark's still rotting in prison. Megan's now a self-help blogger. The irony of that isn't lost on me. As for me, I live in a small town in Wyoming now. Quiet, clean, simple. But every time I hear the squeak of a door hinge or the buzz of a text at 2 a.m., my heart still skips. Some ghosts never leave. But at least now, I know how to keep the door locked.